The newest little flask-shaped DAC/amplifier has arrived at Minidisc, so we've taken a swig. Is the iFi hip DAC worth sneaking around in your pocket? Well, honestly, I have to say, I was really surprised by the sound of this little blue wonder. On paper and in the hand, it looks the part. About the size of a deck of cards, the hip DAC packs both a 3.5mm and a 4.4mm balance connection that can produce 400 milliwatts at 16 ohms, almost 4 times what a similar device like the FiiO Q1 Mark II can produce. The hip DAC has a USB-C port, but that's just for charging the device. Actual audio input is connected via iFi's unique male USB-A port, which means a one-cable connection with OTG cables and Apple's camera connection kit. iFi helpfully provides all the necessary USB-A and USB-C cables, but for iPhone users, you'll have to buy the Lightning camera connection kit cable separately. Now try saying that one 10 times fast. You get volume control via the little gold knob, but on our demo unit, we noticed an issue where the unit would turn off while clicking into the off position if you get right to the end of the volume pot, meaning that it's quite easy to turn off accidentally if you're fiddling around at very low volumes. Unfortunately, in combination with this issue, there is some channel imbalance at the end of the pot, so if you're using extremely sensitive IEMs, you might run into a problem where the hip DAC gets too loud before you get past the channel imbalance. For this practical reason, we would hesitate to recommend this amplifier to users with super sensitive IEMs. Now on the other end of the scale, in high gain mode, the hip DAC produces enough voltage to easily drive high impedance headphones like the Sennheiser HD820, and enough current to drive low impedance, low sensitivity headphones like the Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 without breaking a sweat. But power output aside, how does it actually sound? Well, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I was really surprised by the sound of this DAC/amp. Now, I usually find differences between sources really quite subtle, and apart from differences in power output, output impedance, and noise floor performance, most sources sound quite similar to me. Not so with the hip DAC. The hip DAC sounds noticeably warm with everything I tried it with. The highs get rolled off, everything gets smoother, and the bass gets thumpier and flabbier. We compared the hip DAC with the Chord Mojo, which is supposedly a warm sounding source, and the iFi makes even the Mojo sound bright. We're really not sure what secret sauce iFi is adding to the hip DAC, but it definitely hasn't been tuned for a linear sound, even compared to iFi's own Zen DAC, which is iFi's desktop counterpart to the hip DAC that was released around the same time. The hip DAC makes everything sound smoother at the expense of making bass sound a bit underdamped. It can make brighter headphones like Grados and Audio Technicas sound sweeter and more balanced, but for anything that is warm to begin with, I found the hip DAC makes everything sound too muddy. And this is before you switch on the bass switch, which just doubles down on the effect. There was actually no headphone that we had that we enjoyed with the bass switch because it makes everything sound so overblown, but it's there if you want it. So should you get one of these? Well, before I started this review, I thought the hip DAC would be an easy upgrade over similar products like the FiiO Q1 Mark II. But now that I've had a listen, I don't think the decision is so simple, since the sound of the hip DAC is definitely not balanced like the FiiO. If you want something to drastically warm up a cold sounding can, the hip DAC is an easy recommendation. But if you want something that works better as an all-rounder, you might have to give the hip DAC a swig and a miss. Let us know what you think. This is Lachlan for Minidisc TV, and we'll see you next time.